This is the Scratch Club Week 2 challenge. Let's watch to see what the sprite needs to do this week. Notice that you see him walking, and he looks like he is moving based on how his legs are moving. Then every once in a while he stops, and you hear a sound, and you see a speech bubble. And you also notice that when he gets to the edge of the screen or the wall, he turns around and goes the other way. Those are the things that you need to make sure that you do this week on the challenge. So let's create a new program and see how we made this happen. First of all, we're going to look at costume changes. Every sprite has several costumes. This sprite has 2. So we're going to go up here on the Costumes tab and notice that this cat has 2 costumes, and when we click them back and forth, it looks like he's walking. So that is so that you can create the effect of walking. So we're going to tell him to change back and forth to the different costumes. Always when we start something with a sprite that's moving, it helps to make sure that we put in that when he's clicked, we want him to start in the center of the screen, and we want him to make sure that he's pointing in the direction where he is, so that anywhere that you put him, when you hit the green flag, he's going to go back to the middle. Now we are going to tell him to change costumes. So let's go under Control and put Repeat 10. And we're going to tell him under Looks to, let's choose the Next Costume button. And when we do this, this is telling it 10 different times to change to his next costume. Let's see what that looks like. Alright, I hope you caught it. He moves really, really fast. So obviously we need to slow that down a little bit. And the way that we can do that is put some time in between his costume changes. So if we put in 1 second time, that was under Control, he moves too slow. So we're going to shorten the time. Let's put a part of a second. How about we try 2/10 of a second, and then it'll look like he's changing costume or walking a little bit faster. That's a pretty good pace, and we saw he did it 10 times. Now at the same time, we also want him to do some moving. So we're going to tell him, as he changes costume, we also want him to move. So let's see what happens just when we place the move 10 steps in there as part of the repeat. Alright, that's decent. I'm going to also try moving it around to see if right after he changes the costume, how that looks. Ooh, that looks a little bit smoother to me. So we're going to go with costume, then steps, then wait. And he only did it 10 times, and he didn't move very far. So we need to tell him to keep moving until he is told to stop. So we're going to go back to Control and get this forever, which is telling it to repeat forever. And we're going to put that around the repeat. But then we need to tell him that if he, well, first of all, let's make him stop in between his 10 steps. So we're going to put in a wait 1 second every time after he does those 10 repeats. And that's also where he was saying something. So we're going to go under Looks, and let's make him, how about we say think. So he's going to say something and wait, and let's shorten it to 1 second. All right, let's see what we've got so far. All right, so now he's walking off our screen. That's a problem. We need to make sure that he gets back on our screen. So in order to do that, we are going to go under Motion, and down here, if on edge, bounce. At the bottom under Motion, if on edge, bounce. So that's letting him know whenever he hits the edge of the screen, he needs to bounce. But watch what happens when he bounces, as just written like that. He bounces upside down. So we need to add the set rotation style command left and right, and that'll tell it to make sure that he basically flips instead of going upside down. So let's try that. All right, there he hit the wall. Good. Now, the only other thing that you have to use is under sound. You need to add some kind of sound that he says about the same time that he stops and waits. And so you can experiment with some of these sounds and moving it in here down close to where he is thinking and waiting. So remember that your challenge this week is to make sure that your sprite changes costumes to look like it's moving, that it moves and waits, moves and waits, moves and waits, that you have it's saying something, and that you have a sound. And make sure that when you hit the wall that you bounce. You're welcome to experiment with other sprites, and you can do that down at the bottom where it says New Sprite. There are lots and lots of choices of different animals or people or objects that you can use. We will explore that further next week. There are also down here backdrops that you can change and pick different settings for your sprite to move. Those will be extras. Feel free to be a little bit creative, but the things listed in the challenge are the only things that you have to do. Also, be sure to share your finished product with us on the Edmodo Scratch Club page.